On the 27th of March, 1977, two of the biggest planes in the world were sitting on the same runway in thick fog at the same time. One plane started moving forward, picking up speed for takeoff. The other plane was still on the runway, right in front of it. Neither pilot could see the other plane through the fog. Neither pilot knew what was about to happen. In the next few seconds, 583 people would die. It would become the deadliest plane crash in history, and it did not happen because of a bomb, a storm, or a broken engine. It happened because of a simple misunderstanding. A few wrong words spoken at the wrong moment on a runway where two giant planes should never have been at the same time. This is the story of the Tenerife Airport Disaster, and how one small mistake in communication cost more lives than any plane crash before or since. Welcome to Obscura TV. To understand how this happened, we have to go back a few hours earlier to a small island airport that was never built to handle what was about to happen to it. Tenerife is one of the Canary Islands off the coast of Africa. Its main airport, Los Rodeos, was small. It had only one runway. On a normal day, it handled a normal number of flights, moving in and out without any trouble. But this was not a normal day. Earlier that morning, a bomb had gone off at a much bigger airport nearby in Las Palmas. Because of the danger, many large planes were told to land somewhere else until the area was checked and made safe again. Tenerife's small airport suddenly had to deal with huge planes it was never designed for, parked wing to wing, filling every space it had. Two of those planes were a KLM Boeing 747 and a Pan Am Boeing 747, two of the largest passenger planes in the world, both forced to wait on a runway built for much smaller aircraft. The KLM flight was carrying 248 people. The Pan Am flight was carrying 380. Together, that is more than 600 human lives sitting on a runway that was never meant to hold planes this big, simply waiting for permission to fly again. And as the day went on, small problems began to build, quietly, one after another, towards something much bigger. The weather was the first problem. As the hours passed, thick fog rolled in over the airport. This was not normal cloud cover. This was fog so heavy that pilots in the control tower could barely see the runway in front of them, let alone a plane sitting at the far end of it. The second problem was time. The KLM captain, a highly respected and experienced pilot named Jacob van Zanten, was under pressure. If his flight was delayed much longer, his crew would run out of legal flying hours for the day. That could mean canceling the flight completely, stranding hundreds of passengers overnight in a small airport with no space left to hold them. Van Zanten was not just any captain, he was one of KLM's top pilots, so respected and so trusted that his face was even used in the airline's own training advertisements, teaching other pilots how flying should be done. This was a man who understood the rules of the sky better than almost anyone, and yet, in the fog that afternoon, all of that experience would not be enough to save him. As the airport slowly began clearing flights to leave, both the KLM and Pan Am flights were told to move onto the runway to prepare for takeoff. Here is where the real danger began. Because the airport was so crowded, Pan Am was told to taxi down the length of the runway and turn off at a specific exit, clearing the way for KLM to take off right behind them. But in the thick fog, the Pan Am pilots struggled to see the exit signs clearly. They were still moving slowly down the runway, searching carefully for the correct turn, when something happened at the other end of that same runway that no one on board could have predicted. The KLM captain, waiting at the far end, believed he had been given permission to take off. He had not.
What he actually received was a routine instruction from air traffic control, details about the flight path he would follow after takeoff, not permission to begin moving. But in the confusion of the fog, the crackle of radio static, and two voices speaking on the same frequency at once, something in that message was misunderstood. Van Zanten released the brakes. The KLM Boeing 747 began rolling forward, engines roaring louder and louder, picking up speed down the long runway. At almost the exact same moment, the Pan Am plane was still sitting on that same runway, moving slowly through the fog, still searching for its exit, completely unaware of what was now speeding towards it. Two of the largest planes on Earth were now on a direct collision course, and because of the fog, neither crew could see the other. Inside the control tower, an air traffic controller heard something on the radio that confused him. He asked KLM to confirm their position, but at the very same moment, another voice from Pan Am spoke over the radio too, and the two messages overlapped into a short burst of noise. Neither message came through clearly. No one in the tower realized how urgent the situation had truly become. On board the KLM flight, the flight engineer, the third member of the cockpit crew, had a bad feeling building in his chest. He asked the captain a simple but critical question. Was the Pan Am plane clear of the runway yet? The captain said yes. He was wrong, and in a matter of seconds, that one wrong answer would help seal the fate of nearly 600 people. The KLM plane was now speeding down the runway at full power, moving too fast to stop safely. Through the fog, the Pan Am crew suddenly saw something terrifying ahead of them, the lights of the KLM plane, coming straight towards them, already moving far too fast to avoid. The Pan Am crew did the only thing they could. They pushed their plane hard to the left, trying to steer off the runway, trying to create any distance at all between themselves and what was coming. It was not enough. The KLM plane lifted off the ground at the last possible second, but it was too late and too low. Its body and landing gear tore straight through the top of the Pan Am plane, ripping the fuselage open. The KLM plane, now badly damaged and unable to fly properly, crashed back down onto the runway seconds later and burst into flames, killing everyone on board almost instantly. In less than a minute, 583 people were dead. Among them was the flight engineer who asked the right question, and the rest of the crew who trusted their captain until the last second of their lives. 61 people on the Pan Am flight survived, pulled from the burning wreckage by other crew members and passengers who fought their way through smoke and fire to save whoever they could reach. Every single person on the KLM flight died. For years afterwards, investigators studied every second of this disaster, trying to understand how something like this could happen to two of the most experienced flight crews in the world. What they found changed the entire aviation industry forever. The investigation showed that the disaster was not caused by a single mistake. It was caused by a chain of small problems, each one quietly making the next one worse. The fog, the overcrowded airport, the pressure of running out of flying hours, radio messages overlapping each other at the worst possible moment, and a captain so confident in his own experience that when his flight engineer questioned him, he didn't stop to check again. That last point became one of the most important lessons in aviation history. Investigators realized that even a highly skilled, deeply respected captain could make a fatal mistake, and that the real danger was not just one person's error. It was a culture inside the cockpit where junior crew members felt afraid to challenge a senior captain, even when every instinct told them something was wrong. Because of Tenerife, airlines around the world completely changed how pilots are trained. New rules were introduced, requiring clearer, simpler radio communication, so a word like takeoff could never again be misheard or misunderstood.
In the middle of a crowded runway, new training taught every crew member, no matter their rank or experience, to speak up immediately if they believed something was wrong, and taught captains to actually stop and listen when they did. In many ways, every flight that lands safely today owes something to the lessons learned on that foggy runway in 1977. But knowing the cause does not make the loss any smaller. 583 people boarded 2 planes that day expecting an ordinary flight. Families going on holiday, workers heading home to their children, people with plans for tomorrow that would never happen. They did not die because of bad luck or an unavoidable accident. They died because of a short, quiet chain of misunderstandings, a few seconds where words were not clear enough and no one stopped to make absolutely sure. It is a strange and heavy thought. The deadliest disaster in aviation history was not caused by a bomb, a storm, or a broken engine. It was caused by something as small and as human as one man believing he heard the words clear for takeoff when no one had actually said them. Sometimes the biggest disasters in history do not come from evil or from broken machines. They come from small human moments, a rushed decision, an unclear sentence, a question that should have been asked twice but was only asked once. Tell me your thoughts in the comments below.